Hello out there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. We've got some more very fascinating content today, hopefully. Anyway, no pressure. We are going to get into diet and food. I like to offer solutions on this channel. And I just like to go really where the truth is. And so it can be challenging at times. So we've got a special guest. We've got Joey Shwartz coming on. Joey interviewed me on his channel a few months ago, and I wanted to get him back on because he's been on a very interesting journey. So we'll get into that. But before I go on, if you're new around here, please consider subscribing, liking the video, commenting. All helps me out. So without further ado, Joey, how you doing?
Good. I'm excited to do one of these interviews where we get into the really good stuff. So let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't like to pin someone's age on them as a defining thing, but I do. You give me hope for the future because are you still 19?
Yes.
Yeah. So you are 19 and you are definitely exploring a lot of rabbit holes, and actually I've learned quite a bit from you, so well done for that, first of all. And I know also you've taken a lot of heat and gone against a lot of popular opinion, which I said to you on the interview that we did takes a lot of courage, to take a lot of criticism at a young age. I think it showed a lot of bravery. So credit to you for all of those things. But I started. We got connected over the whole like carnivore diet. I mean, I had my journey with veganism where I got very sick, and then I think I did an interview, and then you saw me there, and we did an interview together. But one thing that I really got from you recently with all of your, where you shifted to more of a raw diet, raw carnivore, I started to incorporate that more, and I've actually felt a big difference since I've been doing that. So I just wanted to point out that it's really helped me as well. But I want to just ask you, how did you get into like carnivore first of all? What happened? What's your background with that?
Yeah. So I started getting to diet and nutrition in the first place just because I didn't feel good. And my logical idea was that, okay, what I'm putting into my body is probably not adequate. If I put inadequate things into my body, it's going to yield inadequate outcomes. So just kind of tried to figure out what we should be eating and did keto for a bit. Kind of realized that we probably shouldn't be eating a ton of carbs. We could probably do some, but not a lot. And did keto for a bit, then did Saladino's diet, and then did carnivore. Just really on the quest to find good health, because I realized pretty early on that if we want to be as happy as we could possibly be, then we need to be as healthy. That they pretty much work like in tandem with one another. It's impossible to be happy without health, like literally impossible. So yeah, this has been my goal. I want to be as productive as possible. I want to be able to be as efficient as possible and just as happy as possible ultimately. So got into carnivore and have been just playing around with certain things, modifying the cooking and the raw and all that stuff, trying to figure out what's best. And I'm at a point now where I'm pretty sure I figured it out.
So did you ever go vegan or vegetarian before you went to the carnivore route?
I think I did vegetarian for like a week where I was I thought that meat was too heavy, and so I was doing tofu instead. I was like, okay, it's plant-based, it's going to be less heavy on my stomach, I'm going to feel better. And the mind is a pretty powerful thing because you can really trick your brain, and you can really tell yourself that something's going to happen and manifest that into reality. So for that week that I did this vegetarian thing, I almost tricked myself into thinking that I felt better. And people do that a lot when they try a new diet. But yeah, it was really bad. It was I felt in retrospect, I know how bad I felt. I know how bad it was. I did vegetarian for a week, but no, never vegan.
Yeah, I do think there's something in coming off a toxic Western diet and doing like a vegetarian thing, maybe, or vegan, maybe for a very short term. Because if you think about it, you're coming off complete junk, which is what happened with me. I was coming off complete junk and then going to that. So I did felt like an authentic kickback from that, which gave me more, which gave it the whole thing more credence. And then it all ended in tears later down the line. But so that's interesting. So So you were really, like, I would say, at the forefront of like the carnivore movement, and then you did like not a 180, because you're still saying meat, but you kind of challenged the people in that community, some very prominent figures, where you now believe that eating raw meat is more of a beneficial diet, and we can achieve optimum health. So how did you come to that conclusion, and what is the difference between eating cooked meat and raw meat?
I came to that conclusion after reading the book Exogenous Wonderplanets, who got really deep into why we are supposed to be consuming raw foods. And there's so many studies where they basically give carnivores cooked food versus raw food. And when they give the carnivores the cooked food, it like stays in their stomach for a while. It doesn't digest as well. And with the raw food, they thrive. I heard about Pottinger's cats, which was huge for me, seeing these cats that were deteriorating on cooked meat but thriving on raw meat. And this doesn't necessarily provide the evidence that humans thrive on raw meat, but that's what got me into it. That's what got me thinking a lot. Why are these animals doing so well with raw but so bad with cooked? And then I did research into like what humans are. Like, why would this be, the case for humans as well? And it's actually pretty simple. Humans are naturally carnivorous, and there are no carnivorous animals in nature that consume cooked meat. Cooked meat has carcinogens on it. Like, every time you cook it, it's logical to assume that those crust marks that come from the heat are not going to be good for us. That's why they taste bad if you consume a bunch of carcinogens like in excess. Also, I mean, the bacteria content and the enzyme content, every single function in our body is modulated by enzymes. Like, every time you blink your eyes, it's all enzymes doing work. And then also the increased nutrient content. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Like, why would you want to lower the amount of nutrients that you get from food? There's the primary two reasons why I started eating raw meat. And the first one is how I felt. I just felt better. And the second one has to do with germ theory, which is kind of has to be integrated into this response. So one of the reasons why I started consuming raw meat was because I understood that germ theory was a hoax. So what do I mean by that? Well, I realized that bacteria was good. So a lot of people don't do raw meat because of the bacteria. I did raw meat because of the bacteria. And I started to understand what sickness is, and how sickness is actually just the bacteria binding to toxins and getting rid of them, which is why when some people consume raw meat or raw animal products, they feel some sort of sickness, or sometimes they'll get an instant detox and get rashes and stuff. This is literally the bacteria from the raw meat that your body has been so deprived of doing the job that it needs to do by expelling toxins. And I was so interested in that because I understood at that point that all disease was toxicity and deficiency based. And I think largely it's the deficiencies contributing to toxicities because we don't have enough nutrients to remove the toxins from our brain and from our body and from the lymphatic system. It's super energy expensive. And so if we don't have those minerals, if we don't have those nutrients, then those toxins just stay there and they continue accumulating. And that's how you get diseases like Alzheimer's, which is literally just mercury and aluminum toxicity, in my opinion. So I learned about bacteria. What do they do? Are they bad for us? The answer is no, they're not bad. They basically are firefighters of the body. They're not pathogenic. They heal us. And yeah. Also, I just like the idea of raw meat. Like, I like the idea of eating food in its natural form. So that's the reasoning.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, when you look at it just logically alone, it makes complete sense. Because, I mean, you look at the word cooked. What does cooked mean? It means dead, right? and so if we're cooking our food, then we're taking out a lot of the nutritional value out of that food, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I have an orange tree in my backyard. I don't eat much fruit, but I can tell the difference when I eat an orange tree that's literally alive. Like, I take it right off the tree and I eat it, versus an orange that's been shipped from somewhere and it's been months, since that was picked. And there's definitely a life force that's preserved in the food when we eat it raw, or that's been dry aged or whatever. Like, there's definitely a life force that diminishes, and it is something that you can't really quantify, but it's definitely there and you definitely feel it. And I think it's this life force in the food that can explain why so many tribes eat the organs raw, and they will give an organ that corresponds to a certain organ in the body to heal that organ. So if you have concussions, a lot of cultures actually give you brain. And I think that all has to do with the life force, like something that can't be actually pinpointed. So on a spiritual level, I can see why raw meat is definitely better than cooked.
Yeah, and when you think about it, when you look at society, raw meat really isn't alien to us anyway. I mean, you know, we have like salmon and like a lot of people like their steak blue. That's almost raw. So people get grossed out by it, but really it's there already, isn't it? In France, they eat a lot of like raw meat, don't they?
Yeah, I think in France a lot of people eat tartar every day. So yeah, lots of raw meat. And I noticed that a lot of people where I am crave sushi. Like sushi is their favorite food. And they're not realizing that they just want raw meat. Like they're not craving cooked chicken like they crave sushi. They crave the raw nutrition. There's something about the raw meat. And you can't just break it down to nutrients or enzymes or bacteria alone. There's something about raw meat, what it does to the body. There's something there. And yeah, because like when I was with my friends in Europe for a couple of weeks, everyone was saying how they wanted sushi so badly when they got back. It was a really intense craving. I did a video on this. And yeah, so sushi is part of the culture. Raw meat is part of the culture. It's just the absolutely optimal raw meat that has fat with it, because like fish doesn't have much fat when you eat it sushi, is deemed to be dangerous. And it's probably by intention that they vilified the raw meat that's most beneficial for human health, because we need the raw fats. But yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I mean, I pretty much eat tartar every day as well now. That's my preferred preference. And one thing that I noticed that when I started doing that, I didn't feel sleepy or tired afterwards. Actually, I felt like a buzz, like a kick, actually. And I thought that was really interesting. So I'm assuming you found the same kind of results.
I have. I also feel lighter. Like I feel a bit less bloated if I do raw meat. Cooked seems to sit in my stomach a bit more, but I feel like raw is just absorbed and digested so well. Yeah, I definitely do feel the buzz. I felt it more at the beginning, and that's what kept me in it. Maybe it's just become the baseline now, and I just can't really notice the buzz, but I definitely felt a buzz at the beginning. Like it was very noticeable.
Yeah. And what about another thing that I also incorporate in my daily diet is I eat raw eggs as well. Do you also do that also?
Yeah, I do so many eggs. I do eggs all day. I don't fast at all. I eat pretty much all day. Eggs are really, really big. I feel like eggs are just sustained energy, pure brain power. They're so delicious. Eggs provide like a pretty unique range of nutrients. I like the egg. I just logically I like the idea of an egg. This is the thing that builds an entire animal. So we have to think that this is what's going to be good for us as well. It's the same reason I like milk, but it's a bit different because the egg is going to become an animal. The milk is not the animal itself. The milk feeds the animal, but eggs are pretty special. Eggs are very, very special. Especially, I always tell people to take the collagen like outside, like on the border of the shell, because that's that's like just pure collagen. But yeah, eggs are.
Collagen, is that the white?
It's like the membrane. So you have the shell, you have that little like a layer there all over the. Yeah, I like rip that off and eat that as well.
Okay. Oh, I'll have to try that one. So
yeah.
So some people say like just eat the yolk. Some people say just eat the white. Some people eat, but for me, I just take the whole lot. It seems to be works well for me. So is there a way that you eat them?
Oh yeah, I just suck them right through the shell. The reason why I suck through the shell is because when you basically drink it slowly instead of cracking them into a glass, your body starts producing the enzymes that facilitate digestion, because it's like signaling to your body that you're eating an egg, and now it needs to produce the enzymes to digest it properly. And so it'll digest a lot better from my experience doing that. I definitely eat the white. Nature designed eggs perfectly and creates an animal. Why would you want to break it down into constituent parts and pick and choose what you want to eat? It's just a perfect, it's like it's nature's perfect design. I don't know why we'd want to break it apart. Like people are going to say that there's avidin combined to the biotin, and then that's going to give you a biotin deficiency. Like prove it. These are just ideas. I mean, there's so many ideas that people have when it comes to this stuff, and none of it's proven. So like, yeah, the parts of the animal complement one another. You need protein to digest fat, and vice versa. You can't eat a meal of only fat. You can't eat a meal of only protein. They complement one another. So yeah, absolutely, I eat the whole thing. It makes no sense not to.
Yeah, and the same applies with eggs. When you cook them, they lose their nutritional value. So that's why eating them raw. And a lot of people get grossed out, and probably a lot of people listening to that probably get grossed out just listening about eating raw eggs. Some people put them like in smoothies or something like that. Have you heard of ways that maybe might be more palatable for people?
Yeah, take some raw milk, some raw cream, maybe a bit of honey or a fruit if you want it to have a little bit of sweetness, and like blend it up, and it's just delicious. I think the best thing to do is to just get used to the raw eggs themselves instead of trying to hide it in something, because it's a much better mentality to have around your food when you believe that what you're eating is good for you, instead of just sneaking it into your dishes so you can like try to get the nutrients. The brain definitely has a big effect on how we digest and assimilate nutrients. So we should be believing that what we're eating is best for us instead of being nervous about it. So yeah, I think the best thing to do is just to like do a lot of research and convince yourself, because it's pretty obvious that raw eggs are good for you. And yeah, just like break down that mental barrier and start eating them normally.
Yeah, yeah. And also, we'll get into fat a little bit more in a minute, but eggs, when you eat them in that way, are very hydrating. And one thing that I would really like to address here, and I think our Jonas Wonderplanet says it as well, is that we're dehydrated, but water actually dehydrates us more, which is going to be a big trigger point for a lot of people listening to this. So I know you've spoken about this. So could you just, excuse the pun, put some meat on the bones about this point?
Yeah. So in the past, water was super nourishing. There were tons of minerals in water. It was you're getting from lakes where there's more magnesium. There's some B12. It's very, very good, high quality water. Today, not only is the water fluoridated, it's chlorinated, and then also like has a bunch of other garbage in it, but there's no minerals in the water anymore. All this stuff is gone, and a lot of times people are drinking water from really far away from their home, and it's the natural magnetism and the natural like photosynthetic footprint of that water is all screwed up. So water is just a big problem nowadays for reasons, just for many reasons. To me, the best water is the one that comes in food, and most foods have a lot of water. I think meat has like 50% water, milk is like 90% water, eggs 90%, fruits over 90%. Like these foods have lots of water in them, and that's actually hydrating because there's minerals in there. So Gatorade, for example, is more hydrating than water because you have electrolytes that the water is supposed to naturally have, and therefore the water can actually seep into the cells and hydrate us. But if there's no minerals, then the water is just going to dehydrate us because we can't use that water for hydration. It just doesn't do its job. So yeah, I sometimes I'll do even vegetable juices. Like I'll do like some juices, and I'll make a celery juice. I'll leave it for 24 hours. All the green stuff will drop to the bottom. So like, you know what I'm talking about? So it'll separate. It'll be the water on top and the green fibers like drop to the bottom. And this top layer is the most pure water you could possibly get. It's photosynthesis generated water. It's the best stuff you can drink. And so I'll do that sometimes if I want extra hydration. I try not to do too much water. If I do, it's like Mountain Valley in a glass bottle, because the water is really bad. It's a pretty big deal. So yeah, I mean, hydration with raw foods is absolutely ideal. And yeah, 100%. It's the best way to hydrate yourself.
And the big red flag, obviously, is the government, because they tell you that you should drink 8 liters of water a day. And we know if the government tell you to do something, you should generally do the opposite. So I think I always thought that that's quite telling. So and also, yeah, I often when I eat the raw meat and the eggs, I do feel hydrated. I don't feel like I need to like go, especially here in Mexico, it's really humid. I don't feel like I need to drink a lot. And that point will be triggering for people, because people are so attached to the idea that they need to drink all this water. But like you say, we just need to get it from our food, right?
Yeah, unless you have a really good stream, or you want to spend a ton of money on glass bottled water, just get it from your food, and it's so much better. Just like literally don't set your food on fire. You'll get a lot of water from your food. So yeah.
Set your food on fire. Good. So So basically, what I wanted to go into now was you've got like an interesting. Well, first of all, let's get into germ theory again, because you know there's always people that may have not heard of germ theory. So just unpack that for us, and then I guess hopefully that might lead into your idea of the immune system.
Yeah, absolutely. So germ theory is a new idea. It came with the allopathic medicinal model, which kind of started in the last several hundred years. Before that, it was more homeopathic, naturopathic, where they're understanding that the body is an electric system and that the body is sickened by nutrient deficiencies and toxicities. So they really had it right, and there were a bunch of remedies. All this stuff was thousands of years of accumulated research from Chinese physicians, from people who were just doing experiments, and they got a really good database. They got a really good foundation of information that Rockefeller and Carnegie basically threw away to make the Flexner report, which underpinned every single medical school's like forced education on their students. So that it all fell apart when Rockefeller and Carnegie just started basically like buying it out. The amount of medical schools in the US went from 900 to like less than 300. So it became super centralized, just like they wanted it to be. I mean, everything is centralized now. That's so they could get control. And with that, Louis Pasteur was the one who founded the germ theory, pasteurization. He came up with it. Like the idea was that microbes in the environment, bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites are causing disease. And the way he made this theory, public and super mainstream was by lying. So he took some examples of things he did was he would take vaccinated and unvaccinated groups of animals. With the unvaccinated group, he would give them anthrax. So he would give them the sickness. He would give them both the sickness. And his idea was that, okay, we want the vaccinated group to survive longer because that would mean that the vaccines are working, right? Okay, so what he did was he gave the unvaccinated ones poisons along with, the shot. And so they died. So it was totally diabolical. He totally misconstrued the research, faked the data. This is all in his notebooks. He didn't want them to be published, but his grandson didn't care. His grandson took the notebooks, gave them to a Princeton professor. All this stuff is public. Pasteur was a liar. He admitted that the germ theory is nothing and the terrain is everything. So all this stuff is already proven. Like the man who made germ theory himself knew it was a lie.
That's like, sorry to butt in, that's like Darwin and his theory of evolution. He didn't believe his theory in that either, did he?
No, he didn't. And Darwin didn't even make the theory either. Like it was his grandfather. Like
Right.
Like Erasmus, it's all these guys who get credit for these things that they're making. One, don't believe their own theories, and two, are just fraudulent. Like they're just plagiarizing. So yeah, exactly. And then so the truth about viruses is not that they transmit from one person to the next. Bacteria is not that you get them from the food or the environment and they make you sick. That's never been proven. In fact, in 1918, Rosenau was doing experiments with the influenza stuff, trying to see if he could get sick people to infect the healthy people. And he would have these sick people cough on the healthy people 10 times. He'd have them spit in their mouths. They would inject blood. No matter what they could do, they never were able to transmit this. And this is all documented stuff as well. This stuff is really hidden, but you could find it if you search really hard for it. And that's what I did. I read some books and figured this stuff out. And the evidence is there that this does not transmit. So how did they get this idea? Like, what are viruses and bacteria and fungi and parasites actually? Well, in many cases, these parasites are actually generated by the body to bind to a bunch of toxins. I think they consume like over 100 times their body weight in toxins and remove them. The bacteria are made by the body to get rid of stuff. The viruses saponify toxins and remove them. Again, it's the same thing with cholesterol. Cholesterol is found in the plaques of heart disease, but it's not causing the heart disease. It's the firefighter. The same thing with viruses and bacteria. You may find them in a person's body, but that doesn't mean that they're causing it, or they are there to remove the toxicity. So it's part of like a complete anti-nature agenda, an agenda to convince us that nature is against us, that we need to watch out for everything and everyone in the world. And nature is against us. We're kind of fighting for our own. And this is what evolution theory does as well. Nature is against us. We're here by mistake. It's all an accident. Nature's poorly designed. It's kind of just a way that they can control us and control our minds and make us feel weak and yeah, lacking power. So yeah, germ theory is a lie. It underpins a lot of major aspects of today's society. Yeah, it's very, very deep, and it's probably the biggest realization that I've had. It's by far the most powerful one.
So basically, they got everyone scared of each other from breathing on each other, which is why we had to wear all the face nappies and everything. You got to see the humor in it, because they got everyone doing that in the whole world, and we don't even catch viruses like that. It's,
yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
They must be sitting at their banquet tables, you know, just laughing their heads off at all these people walking around in masks and stuff when
Yeah.
they know the truth about it. So so what about things like you know, sexual diseases and things like that? Is it a similar sort of thing?
The STDs don't exist. The whole actually, I don't know if I can say this. The whole like AIDS thing was basically created by the U.S. government. But after they gave these to the people in Africa, that's what created it. Like all this stuff is it's just detoxification, and women tend to detox more through their genitals than men. This is why biologists thinks women live longer. They have an extra place that they can detox from. So yeah, it's not
really
like,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, we can. I mean, yeah, it's again, it's the ultimate fear tactic, and it's also super divisive between like men and women as well. When you have this idea, like two people in a relationship, someone gets a detox, and they think, oh, you slept with someone else. Like it's a very divide and conquer sort of thing, and yeah, it's super messed up.
So, I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I know I'll get it in the comments. There'll be people that will say, yeah, but I was around, you know, my brother or my uncle and I got sick. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, so there's a few things that could explain that. Number one would be that your brother or your uncle or whoever lives in the same environment as you breathe the same air, you eat the same food, you cook with the same toxic oils that are going to clog your lymphatic system and force a detox. Yeah, you do the same thing. So you live a very similar life with someone. You have the same genetics, so you have the same detox pathways. So oftentimes, two people in the same family are going to detox very, very similarly, not only because they have the same inputs, but because their body is basically biologically programmed to remove toxins through the skin. This is why a lot of times brother and sister have acne, because they're genetically prone to releasing toxins through the skin, versus someone else may do it in another way, maybe in their lower legs, or who knows. So that's reason one. Reason two is something to do with resonance. I think this is really interesting. It's like bioresonance. It explains why women's periods sync. It probably explains why someone yawns and the other person yawns as well. There's it's resonance, and humans are electrical beings. So every single cell that we have is electric. Our structured water is electric. We function electrically, and we have an electric field. And this is why like we feel connections to certain people. This is why sometimes I'll think someone is staring at me. I'll look and oh, who knows? They were actually staring at me. Like you can, there's something that we can't totally quantify that is there, and it's powerful. And so what resonance does is it basically transfers sickness detox pathways without actually giving you someone else a virus or anything like that. So resonance is super interesting stuff. Tom Cowan talks about it a lot. I think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what can probably explain a lot of this stuff. I mean, I've been in the same situation with family where everyone gets sick at the same time. But the other thing that's worth considering is that there are detox seasons. If you have a flu season, this is because all bodies are designed to detox certain things at certain times of year, get sick at certain times. It's not because all of a sudden, influenza starts spreading at one point of the year. How does that make any sense? Like, why would it start spreading at some point? Like, they can't explain this at all. So yeah, that's what I would say to those people in the comments.
So what about the immune system then? Because when you mentioned it the other day, this was one of the first times I've heard about this. So you believe that there is no such thing as an immune system. Could you just explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, well, so first we have to understand that the body doesn't do stupid things. The body doesn't have useless organs. It doesn't have useless functions. Everything is for a purpose. So I was thinking about this one day. Well, if there are no pathogens in the environment, if there's none of this stuff that we think there is, there's nothing to fight off. what does the immune system do? It does not. There's nothing for it to do. Literally, it's the immune system is, so as we know it, is meant to fight off things. There's something to fight off. So there is no immune system. The reason why they can put stuff into your, put stuff into you, and then you get increased amounts of white blood cells is because your body has to detox the poisons out of you. That's not your immune system building an immune response. It's your body removing the garbage. If you take an antibiotic, sometimes people will feel better from that. That's because your body was originally detoxing those toxins from your brain. That's why you had strep throat. But now what you're doing, you're putting a new toxin in your body that your body has to remove. So it's going to stop detoxing here. And instead, it's going to remove this antibiotic that you just put into you. So white blood cells, I believe, are a function of the lymphatic system, which is the main immune system. It's our prime detoxification pathway, I believe. And this is what autogenous says. When we clog our lymphatic system, we get very, very sick. So yeah, the immune system was made, in my opinion, to substantiate germ theory, because like how else would you be able to promote this idea if there's no system to fight off viruses? So for example, they know that the medical system acknowledges that 2 people can be exposed to a certain virus, but one doesn't have to get sick. And the only way they could justify that was by saying that there is a system that fights off viruses, and people have different health in their immune systems. So a person who's immunocompromised is going to be way more likely to get sick than someone who's healthy. You can each be exposed to a virus, but only one's going to get sick. They needed the immune system to justify that. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. So it's just totally made up, in my opinion, as an extension of the germ theory, which of course, we know what it's there to do, and we know how bad it is, and we know how wrong it is.
Fascinating stuff. One thing that, again, I know you speak about, and actually I think you might have triggered this in me to explore this, and I think I read it in Argenis's books as well, is the whole idea of exercise. And basically we might be doing too much.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting because if you look at the health guidelines, what do they tell us? They tell us don't drink, don't smoke, don't exercise a lot, and drink a lot of water. All these things that, sure, like if you do them properly, they're pretty health promoting. Like we shouldn't drink alcohol. We absolutely shouldn't drink alcohol. We absolutely shouldn't smoke. But then the water thing, the exercise thing, like they're just distractions. So yeah, what exercise does is it exhausts us. I mean, literally, and most people are not in the condition to exercise. So you have these Maasai people who are jumping around, extremely healthy, but they also eat great diets. They're not around EMFs that are going to drain their minerals. They're not breathing in toxic air. They're not doing these things that are ruining their mineral stores, so they can afford to do this stuff. Humans today are so screwed up. We're so deficient in fat. Even if you eat a ton of fat, like I drink so much cream and eat so much butter, and just from years of poisoning myself in various ways, I don't have enough fat to like supply my body with what it needs to get rid of everything. It's going to take a lot of time to do that. So I think what exercise does is it drains us out. And definitely moderate exercise is good. Being outside is great. I think getting as much sunlight as you could possibly get in a day is absolutely optimal. But tiring yourself out by doing super intense workouts when you're not fully healthy is probably going to be an issue, because your body only has a limited amount of nutrients to remove toxins with. So if you have a lot of toxicity in your brain and they're telling you to go exercise, it's like, well, okay, now you're going to use all these electrolytes to replenish, to build muscle, to basically repair all the damage that you just did to fix the inflammation. But there's better things, there's better ways for you to allocate that stuff. In my opinion, this is why depressed people are always tired and they don't want to get out of bed, because they're so malnourished, they don't have enough nutrition, that their body is begging them, please don't go expend energy on these trivial activities. We're trying to keep you alive by restoring your health and getting your life back. So yeah, exercise I think is a bit overemphasized.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was vegan, and I was literally doing exercise every day, working out, because I thought, that was the way to go, plant-based and exercise a lot. And I remember my mood, I was depressed, I was down, and I couldn't understand. It's only when I really started questioning things. that I concluded similar. And actually now, I mean, I do still exercise, but not as much as I used to. Like I used to do a lot more than what I do now. And yeah, I noticed that I've got better all-round energy and yeah, better mood and everything. So I definitely think there's something in that. So yeah. So
I mean, I exercise a bit. I go on walks every day. I'll like go walk my dogs a couple times a day. I'll do a lifting workout once a day. And yes, I'm definitely very active. Like I'm walking around, always moving, because sitting is obviously bad. It's just super intense energy expenditure that I think is an issue for most people, especially in today's state.
Yeah, it's finding that balance, isn't it, and not overdoing it. So
Right.
I've found, I don't know about you, Joey, but now I'm on like basically a carnivore or carnivore diet. My muscle definition, I don't even actually need to work out to have that defined sort of body, if you like. Have you found the same with yourself?
Yes, I maintain a ton of muscle on me. I'm like 5'10" and a half or something with like I weigh 190 pounds, and I haven't worked out in a while, and I keep a lot of muscle on my frame, just literally doing nothing. And I mean, yeah, you eat so much raw protein and raw fat, like you're doing pretty well with the muscles for sure without doing much. It's different level than cooked meat for sure. This is why Arnold did raw eggs. This is why Vince Gironda did raw eggs and raw meat. They understood intuitively that the raw was better.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to Arjonas. He left this realm in a very suspicious circumstances, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he did. It's hard to say. Some people think he faked his death because they were trying to kill him anyway. Like they had made several attempts on his life, which is another reason why I believe what he said to be true. Whenever they have to kill you, I mean, that means you're saying something right. But yeah, he fell from his balcony in the Philippines, I think like 7 or 10 years ago. And yeah, who knows? Who knows?
What do you know about like cholesterol? Because in my research, that's just another lie, the high cholesterol thing. We actually need cholesterol. Is that the conclusion that you've come to?
Yeah, it is. I don't think cholesterol should be too high though. Like Saladino's whatever 543 cholesterol. I don't think that's something to be proud of. I think there's certain things that might indicate. Like Ray P has talked about this a bit, and as much as I'm not a fan of his diet, I think he's brought some cool things to the table. Like having insanely high is, I'd probably be a little bit concerned, but like a little bit elevated, like even into the 200 or 300, I don't think it's an issue. And the HDL obviously is incredibly important. This is why it's so dumb when they look at total cholesterol. Like if your HDL is high, that would literally come at your detriment. It makes no sense at all. But cholesterol, as like the molecule that we get from food, is so important. We synthesize it to make vitamin D. It's in every single cell membrane. It's the precursor to our sex hormones. Like the testicles have to absorb cholesterol to make everything, pregnenolone, testosterone, estrogen. So if you don't have it, you're forcing your body to make it. That's how important it is. Your body will literally make it if you don't get enough. So yeah, it's super important.
Yeah, and also another thing that's been demonized is fat. Fat's been demonized, and fat's essential to us as well, right?
Oh yeah, fat. Yeah, I mean, I'm so far past that research. It's like whenever someone brings this up, I'm like, wait, people still believe this? It's like yeah.
Everyone's at different levels, so and this stuff's been so hidden and inverted.
It has. I'm these days I do whatever I can to get the most fat possible. Like I will eat as much fat as I can possibly eat because I understand that the fat is what's going to remove toxins. Like this cream, for example, before I go to bed at night, I smear raw cream all over my body or raw butter because our skin is permeable. Like 70% of what we put onto our skin actually gets into it. This is why sunscreen and makeup and every cosmetic product is not just toxic, but incredibly dangerous and carcinogenic. But the reason why I put this stuff on is because it's going to nourish my body topically. So I get literally as much fat. I will drink and consume as much fat as I could eat because it's so good for us. It's so good for us. It's so nourishing. It binds to toxins and gets rid of them. Just raw fats, they're so good. And cooked fat is a bit different because cooked fat is going to have lipid peroxides, and it's going to completely change the molecular structure. You're going to get rid of the like vitamin A, D, E, and K2. The raw fat is just it's just perfection. And when you eat raw fat, you feel it.
So you're in the States, right? Is raw milk banned there? I know it's banned in is it Canada? It's banned in the UK, I think. Is it banned in the States right now?
Raw milk is like super common in the UK, I'm pretty sure. But in the States, it's not banned in at all of them. It's banned in some of them, but you can sometimes get by with it by saying like, it's for my dog, because the dogs need raw foods. So I think it's legal to buy it for your dog, in most states. But here it's legal in California. And I'm thinking about like trying to make some raw milk dispensers throughout LA, like buy those machines that dispense stuff and then put raw milk in it, and see if I can do that to help get more people drinking raw milk.
Yeah. And one thing I know that you're really passionate about in terms of the message that you want to put across is sourcing good quality meat, right? There's meat out there that we can eat, but we know that it's, injected, it's got lots of chemicals in it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's only getting worse too. I mean, now they're putting in the mRNA in it, thanks to Bill Gates and all these guys who want to jab us through the food supply. So it's only getting worse. And we need to get good quality stuff. And the key is decentralizing the food supply. So buying from farmers markets, giving your money to the people who aren't from these centralized corporations that are just trying to profit off you and make you sick. Right now, it's already bad. They already shoot up the cows, give them hormones and stuff. And beyond that, like beyond the fact that these cows are going to concentrate all these toxins in the fat and the muscle, you're going to be getting a load of chemicals. You're also destroying the life force. You're eating a stressed out, sick, unhappy animal. And if people don't think that that has any implications, if people think that that's quackery, pseudoscience, they need to start rethinking their positions and their worldview. Because obviously, if you eat a sick cow that was in distress, crying its whole life in this tiny little box where it can't even move, and you think that meat is going to be just as healthy, just as nutrient dense, just as adequate for you as an animal that was roaming grass and was happy up until the very moment they slit its throat, like you're so out of touch. And people need to understand that eating healthy animals gets deeper than just the nutrients, like deeper than what it is understandable at face value. There's absolutely something there.
Yeah. And of course, where you are, you have all the GMOs and everything as well. So
yeah, just great.
Yeah. I saw a video where this guy he had some chickens in this farm, and they changed the feed or something, and then the chickens just completely stopped laying eggs. So
really,
they're definitely up to stuff up there.
Yeah, even the soy is really bad. Like even organic stuff is bad now. Like you need to be super careful. I can't buy eggs in the grocery store anymore because they all use organic soy. Well, that soy is cooked. There's chemicals added to it. The soy is so bad for us. Nothing on earth can eat soy. So yeah, I mean, even the organic stuff you need to watch out for. So it's a pretty tough situation. It needs to be decentralized fast, or just becoming self-sufficient is even better.
Yeah, get your own chickens.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to do as well.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm curious about is your thoughts on supplements. Do you think that they work, or what's your feeling on that? Because there's so much choice out there in terms of supplements, and people saying that we're deficient in this and deficient in that. Do these supplements even work, or are they just synthetic? Or what's your opinion on that?
Oh, this is a hard one for me. I still haven't completely taken a position on it because I think it's so hard to figure out. Like, it does seem like in some people, taking a supplement raises your levels of that nutrient in the body, but sometimes it doesn't. So a lot of vegans with B12, they'll take the B12 supplement, but then what happens is that B12 is absorbed in the small intestine, but the colon is what releases the bacteria that make B12. So these vegans take insane amounts of B12, and who knows what that's doing to the body. This is the problem. You can take these supplements, but they're still synthetic, so they're still fake. And what does that mean? Well, basically you're getting chemicals that have to be metabolically processed. So there's like two ways to look at it. I feel like you take the supplement, sure, you might raise your levels of that nutrient, but now your body has to metabolize this toxic. It is toxic because it's synthetic. Anything synthetic is toxic. So your body has to absorb, metabolize this synthetic pill and do something with it. There's definitely toxins from the pill itself, like the outside layer of it. There's that kind of like a plasticky kind of thing that you have on the outside of the supplement. And then like, yeah, I just don't trust it. I mean, because I don't know enough. I'm not going to trust it. The way I look at these things is anything that's unnatural, anything that's fake, the burden of proof is on you to make that, seem fair. We don't assume it's neutral. It's not innocent until proven guilty. When it comes to unnatural things, it's guilty until proven innocent. This is why I look at cold exposure, hot baths. Like I look at all these things like these are unnatural. No human would want to burn themselves in hot water. No human would want to do cold exposure. Okay, if you're saying it's good, the burden of proof is on you. Prove it that it's good. And I think to some degree they've been able to do that, at least with hot baths and stuff. Ogenis did that. But with back to supplements, it's hard. I really haven't figured this one out fully yet. I've done a lot of research on it, but still no solid conclusion.
It's weird. It's like the movement at the moment of jumping into ice baths, isn't there? That seems to blow up over the years. You wonder if that's another agenda. I'm sure there'll be people in the comments telling me I'm wrong, but well, everything that's popular needs to be questioned. That's the way I look at things now. So
absolutely cold exposure, same with the carnivore diet, right? The carnivore diet is way too mainstream to be good for us. There's no way, because the carnivore diet, as people define it today, is a diet where you eat cooked meat, whatever meat you can afford. That's BS because you're eating sick meat that has mRNA in it now. That's the reality of the carnivore diet. Yeah. So of course they're going to tell you to eat this protein and fat that has been poisoned. By nature, naturally, this stuff is great for us, but it's not great after it's been poisoned. So the carnivore diet's way too popular to be good. It's like completely mainstream now. There's no way it could work if you eat sick animals. And then, with the cold exposure, it's like it's way too popular. I mean, a lot of people talk about like Wim Hof, who used to be addicted to alcohol. I think he'll say, I'm not addicted to alcohol anymore because of the cold exposure. It's like, no, now you're addicted to the cold exposure because the adrenaline rush is insane. It's so adrenalizing because it's so stressful. Your body is begging you to get out. You get ridiculous cortisol and endorphins and stuff. So these people are just getting addicted to the cold, to the adrenaline. And I think it definitely should be questioned. Anything stressful means mineral depletion and nutrient depletion. So should definitely be questioned.
Yeah, so I won't be running any marathons anytime soon.
Yeah, me either. I don't think I'll be running any marathons. I used to want to run a marathon. I was like, yeah, I'm for sure gonna run a marathon. All the discipline. Yeah. I mean, after people run a marathon, they get so sick. I don't know if you've heard of this. They get so sick after they run marathons. Usually, not because their immune system is messed up, but because like their body has been put through so much hell that it just wants you to stay in bed and relax so it can repair all the damage that you just did to us. 26 miles.
I remember about 10 years ago, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with my dad. It took us 7 days, and it was just hell, right? And I just couldn't stop puking at the end of it. I mean, now I think I probably really messed up my body, although it was a great experience. But probably looking back, I put my body. Well, I know I did put it through hell, and we don't think of it. We think that when we do all this work, like even the word working out, I mean, that sounds like extreme, right? So, but anyway, just need to wrap this up shortly. So, Joey, what's your plans for the future? You've got all this knowledge. What are you looking to do with it all?
So once I have everything figured out completely, like I know everything. I know everything about light, magnetism, water. I have the diet nailed down, like everything. I'm going to make a course, but I need to be sure first. It's going to be a high ticket course that's just super in depth and on point. And it's going to be super intense for people who really want to heal themselves. And I'm waiting till I completely heal myself first before I do anything like that. But I'm just going to put a ton of time into it and build something that like hopefully the best health course that exists. That's the goal. And then eventually long term, it would be so cool to have like a health institute in Costa Rica or something,
Yeah.
where it's like you have a bunch of little properties and people can come and spend several weeks there, and then like everything included, and there's hot springs. Like that would be a bit of a longer term thing though. I need to make money first. But yeah, I want to go to Central America. I want to be on the beach, because I figured like I need to continue doing a lot of work and researching and learning. So the best way to do that is not by sitting inside under fake lights, but it would be to be grounded at the beach with the sun out, doing work there, and like a beach house in some like tiny country like Nicaragua or something, where it's like so cheap. And so yeah, I'm very excited about the future. There's a lot to do, and I trust myself. I trust my instincts. Like I trust what I'm learning and my ability to discern right from wrong. So hopefully I'll get to the point that I want to be at soon enough.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing everything. It's been fascinating talking to you. Where can people find you? Obviously, you've got your YouTube channel, which is just Joey Shwartz now, right?
Yep. The YouTube. You could also go to my Instagram, Joey Primal, and yeah, any info you need will be in the description of my videos, my email, and all that stuff. So yeah, this has been great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll put your links in my description as well. So yeah, fantastic stuff, mate. And yeah, we'll speak again very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Good talking to you.